That's why this is called a gift and a curse, because I'm cursed by music. My moods are based off of my day's writing. If I write a song, I'm in a bad mood. There was a time where like I treated people unfairly around me because my career wasn't going right. I was so jaded by the music itself and really blamed it, blamed it like, yo, why are you doing this to me? Like, I'm putting the work in, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Like, why aren't you showing me the success that I need? Yeah. That's what this is about, right? Like, you work hard, good things happen to you. And that's not always the case. Nobody talks about the side where it don't matter sometimes how hard you work, you might not make it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Of the game, dude.
It's part of the game, but
the more you're in it, the more likely something's to happen too.
One time someone said something to me, and it's a very simple thing, but it holds so much weight in my heart. Where it was when I came back from LA, and I'm trying to make it happen, and I'm like, I'm in my thoughts. I'm literally sitting every day paralyzed by the thought like, this is it. This dream that I had as a child is now about to be over. And someone said to me, yo, Mike, the train only stops at the station when you let it, when you stop the train.
That's real, dude.
And I was like, I'm driving this train. How the am I gonna let this stop?
Welcome to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. I'm your host, Mike Squires, and today I'm joined by my good friend, Michael Minelli. Michael Minelli is a talented artist that has been on the rise. You may recognize him from his blonde curly hair and his signature panda dunks. Michael talks about the roller coaster of his career and how he thrives as an independent artist. He's also now at a point where he's touring with the likes of Anise, Marky Basie, and has done his own headlining tour. You can support the Mike Squires and Friends podcast by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that because it helps me out a lot. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover DistroKid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, DistroKid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and Instagram. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with two-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, an instant share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends. Michael Minelli, welcome to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast.
Good afternoon, Michael.
Let's go. I want to bring up, what's the difference between a Mike and a Michael, dude? Because you're Michael Minelli.
Yes.
What was the decision to go Michael versus Mike?
My mom.
Your mom.
My mom was a big advocate for everyone calling me Michael. Like, she was like, straight up, you're not Mike, you're not Mikey. That was a big thing. Like, yo, anyone called me Mikey, like, she was ready to square up with them. Straight up. It's like, and there's just like a certain dominance to it. Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was only fitting to be Michael Minelli. And like, Mike Minelli, that sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like I'm trying to be like a underground rapper. Like, Michael Minelli is a headline name, in my opinion, anyway.
And I feel like the alliteration with your name works too, like the double M's too.
Yeah.
Because to me, like Michael Squires, to me sounds like
you're right. It fits. Like, even like one of my homies, like, and I know we're gonna talk about it, but like his name is like Mike Kazoin. Like Michael, because it's, you know what I mean? Like Mike Cuz, he's a producer now.
Yes.
But he was also in E3 with me. But like, it worked where it was like, I was Michael Minelli, he was Mike Cuz.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's funny how Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Like we didn't call him Michael Tyson. That's
Which
weird.
would be crazy, yeah.
That's like, yo, that's my friend in school. But Mike Tyson, it's like, you fear that man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess it depends on who it fits, right?
Yeah. I just bring it up because obviously I'm Mike, you're Michael.
Yes.
And my mom calls me Michael, right? But I don't know. I just had to bring it up just to get things started.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's every situation is different. For me personally, I just always took it as like I ran with Michael and I like being called Michael. I think that there's a certain respect to it for me. And so it's just like, even like certain shows I've done earlier in my career, they'd be like, next up, Mike Minelli. I'm like, y'all don't care. Like I can't come back now because you didn't take my shit serious.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
You can say that. You can swear. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Well, I want to bring up something because you've got me inspired for this podcast. The reason I was watching one of your interviews preparing for this, and it said you were saying something along the lines of just being very present. And as I like edit my podcast and watch some of my previous episodes back, I find that like I'm so focused, and I do have my points, my talking points.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm so focused on my talking points that I feel like I'm not like fully in
absorbing
the conversation.
What's going on.
Exactly.
Got
so my goal today is to take your advice before you even give advice and, try to be more present and like obviously talking points, but like, just
have
focus.
a conversation.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
So talking about your family, your mom, what was growing up for Michael Minelli?
Oh, it was very musical. My mom was a ballroom dancer. So she owned the Arthur Murray's near the mall, near West Farms Mall.
That's insane.
And when my dad and her met, he became a ballroom dancer too, because his biggest inspiration was Michael Jackson. So he was known for like doing all the Mike moves. You know what I'm saying? And then when he met her, he started ballroom dancing. They started ballroom dancing together. So right off rip, you know what I mean? Like I was kind of thrusted into just performing and learning. I started ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
And the reason I quit was because I didn't like wearing dress shoes as a kid.
That's a fair reason.
The only reason, like there was no other reason, being like, these feel weird on my feet. I like sneakers. I'm not doing this anymore.
You're like, if these were Jordans, I could have kept
if
going.
I could ballroom dance in J's, I'd be on TV right now doing that.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it was just, growing up, it was me just being a normal kid at the same time too. You know how it is. It's like you're running around with your friends, you're doing your thing. And then at a certain point, I kind of like really started to love music, and obviously I was super inspired by Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. So, I started putting on like fireplace shows during family functions where I would just stand at the fireplace and perform. And half the time people weren't paying attention, the other time, but it didn't matter. It wasn't about them. It was about me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's kind of what my childhood was like, was really just trying to figure out that balance between like, hey, I really love doing this thing, but I really love going outside and going off of jumps with my bike with my friends and, playing in the woods and doing all this other stuff. So it was like figuring that out.
Yeah. So you had the entertainment bugging you early on.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So did you have any jobs or anything prior to like really getting into music full time?
Oh, mad jobs. Oh my God, bro, I've done everything.
Talk to me about it.
I think I landscaped, I did masonry, I did carpentry, I did flooring, I did painting, roofing. I sold cell phones.
Yeah.
I was a hot dog cart guy at a country club, dishwasher. Like I did almost everything you can do. And so I know you're about to say something, but I think the reason that I can relate to so many people, especially like when I meet them at shows and stuff like that, and they're like, yo, you're such a normal dude. It's like, because my whole life I was normal. I worked blue collar jobs. I know what it's like to get my hands dirty. I still do housework. I'm still doing all my work. You know what I'm saying? Because I really enjoy it. It's therapeutic to me, and it brings me back to a time where I remember really grinding and really having to chase it.
Yeah, I landscaped earlier in my life too, but that's not what I'm gonna bring up. I want to bring up that you're probably gonna have the illest house like one day because
no doubt,
you'd be able to put everything together
no
yourself.
Doubt. Yeah,
dude.
Even I'm just one of those guys that like, if I get bored, I do projects.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like I just try and figure out different things in my house to make look right, or to be artistic, or give me inspiration, so that every time I turn a corner or I'm walking in my place, I can look at something and it inspires me, or it makes me think. You know, what am I thinking about today? Why is that giving me this feeling? Like I'm a very emotional feeling type of person.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely will.
And I feel like those jobs too, like, just instill that hard work in you.
No
you know
doubt.
what I mean? And then that carries over to everything you're doing now.
People always are like, yo, you work so hard. Like, you must be so drained. And I'm like, yo, I worked way harder. Like, yeah, like music's hard, right? And traveling and this and that. But try waking up at 6 a.m. and knowing that you're about to be in the blazing sun all day, shoveling mulch and cutting grass and lifting rocks and wheelbarrowing, and you get 30 minutes in the shade to eat your lunch, and then it's right back out there until you go down. Or in the wintertime, you're plowing, and guess what? You're not going home until all the snow's done. So sometimes, like, I've been out for 27, 30 hours straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what type of exhaustion that is, sitting there and being like, I don't know when I'm going to see my bed again.
And it's for something that you're not passionate about too.
I don't care.
But when you...
I need the money. I'm surviving. I'm trying to make sure that I can live. And I know that as each hour goes by, I'm getting this small portion of money, and I'm hoping that it adds up to enough to where I can support myself for a week, 2 weeks, a month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So... yeah, to me, music is it's not a job, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
You know?
It doesn't feel like work. Like it does, but like
At
you
times
enjoy
it
doing
can,
it.
right?
Yeah.
I think anybody would be lying if they said, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not work. It's like sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do. Sometimes, you know, it could be, hey, I want to go and write this song, but I got to bounce these stems down, and I got to send this out, and I got to make these posts, and I got to... You know,
a lot of sacrifice.
There is things within this job that aren't as glamorous as everyone may think it is.
Yeah, because they just see the final product. They don't see the staying up till 3 a.m. to make sure you get something submitted on time.
And that's why I tell people when they're like, you know, your life is so incredible. I'm like, yo, it's what you see is incredible, because it's what we allow you to see that's incredible. But there are things within our world, as you know, and as any musician or entertainer listening knows, it's like there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that really, you know, stress you out at times and could get you down and have your emotions swaying back and forth. But there's a balance in everything, right? If you work a normal job, like, you might be having a hard ass week, but then all of a sudden, like, your boss may come over and be like, yo, like, I really see you putting that time in, like, well, let's talk about a promotion. Let's talk about this raise. I gave you a raise. Like, there's pros and cons. There's highs and lows in absolutely every aspect of a job or your career. So I enjoy mine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I want to take you to the early days of your career. Let's talk E3 Dance Crew.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
How did that come to be,
We don't
dude?
talk about that often. E3 was just a product of, honestly, so, you know, in my town, there was 2 middle schools, right? And in one middle school, it was me and my boy, Ron. And then in the other middle school, it was my cuz, the man that I mentioned in the beginning. And it just so happened that at that time, like, dancing really wasn't, like, super popular, right? Especially with men. There was a lot of female dancers, obviously, but male dancers weren't really doing it. And for whatever reason, I just loved to dance, obviously. Parents being ballroom dancers. And Ron loved to dance as well. But we kept hearing about this dude, Mike Cuz. Because, you know, middle schools, they don't rock with each other back in the day. You're like, no, my middle school is way better than your middle school. Don't even try and compare our middle schools. And so when we danced a little bit, but when we got to high school is when we really formed, like, our crew, I guess you could say. And so we started... Basically, we knew somebody. We started going to, like, a dance school, but we weren't really learning from them. We were just using the dance school as having the ability to go to, like, competitions, right? Yeah. So we put our routine together, whatever, and we're rehearsing 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and we're going to these competitions. And now we're starting to win all of them. and you could say whatever. In my head, I'm like, yo, because they weren't used to seeing male dancers, so like it was a new thing, you know. But we were just winning, and you know, we went to nationals, and we're doing all these things, and it happened so fast, right?
Yeah.
And you wonder about longevity in something like that, right? And that was always in the back of my head. I'm like, yo, I love to dance. And right now I'm successful. And at that point, you know, when you're super young, success has a different meaning than it does now.
Oh yeah, for
right?
sure.
And so I'm like, cool, we're doing America's Best Dance Crew. We're doing America's Got Talent. We're doing 106 in Park. We're getting hired for all these other jobs and music videos and stuff like that, right? And you're doing this at a time where everyone else is still in school. Like
early on, dude.
Yeah, so it's the same way like a student athlete, right? Like you're a student, but you're an athlete, and you have to maintain being at practice and knowing the playbook and working out and doing all this at the same time getting your schoolwork done. Like when I was in school, it was y'all are going out, cool. I'm about to be in the dance studio working on this routine to get it perfect. So it was just a showtime at the Apollo. You know, all those things we did in the span of 2 years. You know, went to Germany, competed for Team USA and like against, I think it was like 80 other countries as like some kids that really don't know shit about shit. You know, we're just like, yo, we just know if we put the work in, something will come from it.
Yeah. And it's a great way to get your feet wet, like into the industry and just like entertainment as a whole and kind of get a feel of what this thing actually looks like.
Well, that's so that, right? Like, I think everybody doesn't know how big the bubble is, right? And so as kids, we're like, yo, we're 18, 19, and we're crushing these TV shows and we're winning, you know, like winning Showtime at the Apollo, bro. We won 10 times in 1 year.
That's insane.
You know, both the televised and the non-televised show. You know, Lauryn Hill, Michael Jackson, like all these major legends have blessed that stage, and that was like such a defining moment for them. So for us, we were like, yo, we're etching ourselves into like history, you know? And you're like, cool, we're them guys. Yeah. Right? We're them boys, right? Like everybody knows who E3 is. We're doing, you know, Jingle Jam. We're opening up for Nicki Minaj and stuff like that at Jingle Jam in Connecticut. And then we step out and go to Germany. And it was such a wake-up call. And I always say as like that was one of the defining moments for me as to how much further we had to go.
What happened in Germany?
We got smoked. It was great. Like we got smoked, and it was just like you could prepare as much, but like you know, our ceiling was so much lower than some of these other dancers at the time because when we were coming up, the rest of the world was way more advanced, right? The U.S. was actually trying to catch up to the rest of the world as far as dancing, and so it was a realization in real time. Being like, you know, everyone's like, oh, you're going out there for a week, da-da-da. We went out there. I mean, within 45 minutes, we were out of the competition, and now we're just in Germany.
Yeah, to travel that far and then get
wiped out.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you know, we placed, I think we placed like 35th out of 80 countries. But we still got knocked out in the first round. So, like, I take that as an L regardless, but it was an incredible experience, and it also, for the first time, I think, really opened my eyes to, like, how big the world is and how small we are as Connecticut dancers.
Yeah, I think losing's a good thing. I know people might be like, what? Like, losing's a good thing?
No doubt.
But I think it's a good thing because how you handle your losses is really a testament to who you are.
That's more defining.
Yeah, then versus, like, if you're constantly winning, like, not that much character development there.
You don't learn a lot from, I mean, you really don't actually learn a lot from winning. You learn a lot during the process of winning because you know how tight you have to be.
Yeah.
But when you lose, it makes you
feel
have to look at your flaws. It makes you have to look at what you didn't do right, what you could do better, and how you might, like, if all we had was excuses, like, nah, those judges were whack. They don't know what they're talking about.
You
like,
wouldn't have grown from it.
I got to take that on the chin. I got to say, you know what? It was us. It had nothing to do with anyone else. It was us. Could we have done better? Of course. Do I think we had the ability or the knowledge at that time? Nah. You know what I mean? And I take that and I apply it to the next thing I do so that the next time I'm way more prepared and I'm ready for that moment.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about another dance crew. I want to talk to you about the Goonies.
So they weren't a dance crew. We were a band.
Okay.
But it was basically a duo, right? It was me and a dude by the name Juice out of Middletown who is now in LA engineering for Schoolboy Q and TDE.
I know Juice. It was the Juice something. He produced and worked with Webb very closely.
Yes.
So I know Juice.
So when I left E3, I met Juice and I started recording with him as an artist. But this was my first time really recording. And so I did a lot of the boot camp style stuff with Juice, like learning how to record, learning how to sing on a mic as opposed to just singing on a stage, wearing headphones while you're singing, like all those, like that's why there's a performing artist and a recording artist. You feel me? Because they're two different talents and you have to learn both of them in order to be a
well-rounded artist.
Yes. And so we just started making music together and people started really rocking with he had like a raspy rap voice, but kind of melodic. And I was obviously a singer and you have this balance. And we started doing shows and we brought on a band. And I think we started making a lot of noise, especially in Connecticut, right? Because we were a unique band. We were a hip hop band that had rap and singing when it really wasn't happening. You know what I mean? Like this was at the start of like when Kanye was really crushing with like College Dropout and all that stuff.
It was way before its time.
It was way before its time. And to be honest, we started gaining a lot of attention with record labels because of that. Because they're like, yo, this might be the next wave. Like when B.O.B. and Bruno came out with, their record and stuff like that, like the pairing of a singer and a rapper was really interesting to people. Yeah. And our image, you know what I mean? Like we just had a good, well-rounded image. But yeah, the Goonies was an incredible time. And that's where I gained my understanding for performance as far as a vocalist. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because in my head, I'm like, cool, I know how to dance on stage. I know how to get the crowd hype from dancing. But now how do I hype them up with my voice? And how do I make sure they're engaged while listening to this music and singing live? You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, we've all come up at a time where the studio and all the enhancements can help you sound really good. But can you do that live on stage with no auto-tune, with no compression, no all that stuff, right? Like, can you perform your record like your record sounds? And that's something that I took. Like, that was my lesson within the Goonies. How can I be a great performer? How can I engage with the crowd? How can I make them be hype off of music they might not even know? So yeah, that was the Goonies.
And I want to talk to you about some of the shows you guys did because I saw you opened up for Mac Miller.
Yes.
How was that?
That was incredible. We definitely were blessed to open up for a bunch of artists, right? Like Mac Miller, we opened up for Mike Posner. Wale. We opened up for Wale the night he dropped Ambition. So it was Paradise Rock Club. It was Halloween. He drops Ambition and everyone's dressed up. It's absolutely wild. And then you see what he went on to do with his career. So it was like, we felt like we were really a part of something. But yeah, no, it was just so much fun. And one thing I can say is that we carried ourselves really well. We really cared about putting on a great show. And I think that gravitated towards everyone around us because we were always brought back. We were always recommended for new shows. And we gained a lot of attention. I mean, we were, anytime we did a show, it was that place's like bigger night. You know what I'm saying? And like we were booked twice a weekend while we were performing and while we were the Goonies.
Yeah. And when I tapped in with you, it was during, you did an All of Me cover.
Yeah.
That's when I like first heard of Michael Minelli.
Yep.
And I know that was a moment for you.
That was definitely a moment.
Can we talk about that?
For sure. So what happened was just like anything, you grow as individuals, right? So Juice realized like, yo, I want to be a producer and an engineer. And I'm like, yo, like, I think I want to go a different direction with my singing. You know what I mean? Grow and evolve as a singer. And so when we parted ways, I was like, okay, now I don't have the crutch of somebody who's a producer, an engineer that I can work with hand in hand. And I didn't really know many people. So I said to myself, well, my writing skills might not be up to par with what I think can compete with today's music, but I think my vocals do. So let me start doing covers of hit records to show people I could sing these records like major artists. I just can't write them yet. But in the background, I'm writing, trying to perfect it. But when All of Me came out, it was crazy because it was the first time where musically I was being accepted by everyone around me. You know what I mean? Because it's very interesting. When you decide I'm going to be a musician, when you decide I'm going to be an artist, and you start telling people that,
a little bit of pushback,
you get a lot of mixed reactions.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I say you get mixed reactions, you get the people that are going to tell you the truth, and then you get the people that are going to hide their feelings because they don't want to hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because being an artist, especially in Connecticut, it was so foreign. What do you mean you're not going to try and be a doctor? You're not going to be a teacher? Like, you want to do what? Nah, it's not going to happen for you. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, all the people, and I still remember to this day, all the people that doubted or told me not to do it. And I still envision the moments that they told me that. I'll never forget them because I use them. I'm fueled by negativity in a weird way. I have the Michael Jordan approach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I take things personal and I let it fuel me in the right ways to make me go harder. All of Me was the moment in my career, even though it was very early in my career, where I said, I think this could work because I think people are going to embrace who I am. And building your identity as an artist isn't easy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Even someone like you, right? Like, if they say, who is Mike Squires? He's an artist. He does video. He does podcast, right? You could have this. My only goal was to say, when they say Michael Minelli, they say artist, musician. I didn't want, and it's been so long, like, dancer, this, you know what I mean? Like, my whole goal was to be like, yo, I'm going to show everybody nothing but me as a musician. So you can't say, oh yeah, he's a painter too, but he also sings.
Yeah.
I just want you to be like, yo, that's an artist right there. That was my whole goal with it.
Yeah, and eventually it just becomes undeniable at that point.
After a certain amount of time, it has to,
yeah.
Right?
Do you find that some of the people that doubted you back in the day circled back and were like, yo?
No doubt about it.
Yeah, they circled back and they're just like, yo, man, do they even acknowledge or they just keep it pushing?
Because I don't think people, when people say things to you, they have a different weight that it carries for them, right? So someone like them, like, I said it, and I probably didn't even really mean that much because I didn't think you were going to take it to heart.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, you just dropped a bomb on me. You just literally shit on my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Another person that doesn't believe in me.
Yeah, and you don't realize that you said that.
Yeah.
And you don't realize what that's going to do to me. I'm going to go home. But again, for good and bad. Because I'm gonna have a grudge in my head against you. But then I'm also not going to take it too personal where I hate you, because at the end of the day, bro, it's like, I have an opinion about people.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I don't know about this or we'll see, but the difference is I keep that shit to myself.
Yeah.
Like as we all do. Like
Yeah.
it's no secret. Everyone, talks behind closed doors and they have their views and stuff. And it's like, it's just same thing with like negative comments on Instagram and all these social media. It's like, I've never gone and like disrespected somebody with the potential of them seeing it and reaching out. Like, cause it's like, why put that into the space? Why put that into the world? Like, keep them shits to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if they succeed, then they proved you wrong. And that's great. I hope everyone proves me wrong with my thoughts on somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the thing too. Like, you can't let the hate get you down. You just got to keep it pushing. And I mean, you got to believe in yourself no matter what. What's something that you do that like, always keeps you motivated? Is it just like the hate, but like it's got to be?
I don't think I'm always motivated.
That's real, dude.
You know what I'm saying? And I think I'm all based on like passion and feeling and emotion, and I'm human. So like I go through like, bro, even the past couple days, I've been in a very low space. Why? Because for the past 2 years of my life, I've been go on the road, always have something to do every day, always am super tired. This is the first time in 2 years where I have nothing but time and nothing really in front of me to be like, I'm prepping for that, right? Like, yes, music releases and stuff like that. But that's become so like automatic to me, I don't even consider that. Like, I'm gonna get that done. But when I have time to sit in my thoughts, sometimes my thoughts can go too far and I go into a rabbit hole. And so for me, it's like, I've really been trying to embrace every emotion, whether it's good or bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like when I'm super high, I just wrote a song, right? I think it's fire. I'm like, yo, I'm fucking nice. I'm like, what? Talk to me. Yeah, da. I also keep in my mind that when I hit my lows, I have to remember the highs. Because that's what's going to balance me back out at the end of the day. And I'll tell myself, yo, Mike, you being a little bitch right now.
Yeah.
Like I'll look in the mirror and be like, yo, you being a little bitch. Take your day, take your 2 days, feel what you're supposed to feel. And then make sure you set a cutoff date for that. So like, no bullshit, yesterday was my cutoff this morning. Like when Monday, we starting fresh, no more little bitch shit, get back to it. You know what I mean? You were on the road for a minute. You gave yourself time to relax and kind of recalibrate.
Which is very important.
It's so, and it is something that I never really did in my career. Like I you know what I'm saying? Because you feel so guilty. You feel guilty to take time off, which is such a terrible way to think. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck do we look like being mad at ourselves? Like, bro, I didn't take a vacation for, 8 years. I didn't go on one vacation because I didn't think I earned it.
That's like has to go with like self-discipline, dude, but you're grinding yourself into submission.
You're causing more harm because the thing that you're frustrated with, you actually find in those moments of disassociating with what you're doing and being able to step back and put your mind on something else, right? Like going on a vacation might have been the best thing that ever happened to me in those moments, but I was so blinded by the fact like, yo, no, I need to run and keep working and I need to go harder. And like, I know these other artists are working harder than me. Like I have that mentality where it's like, I need to outwork everybody. So I didn't allow myself to ever step back. If I was in the studio and I was having a bad writing day or a writer's block, I would try to keep going and keep going and keep going. Whereas the proper thing to do is, step away, go for a walk. And that's what I really do now. Like, if I sit down and I try and write and I realize within like 45 minutes to an hour, what I'm writing is like subpar or it's like some bullshit, I'll step away and go for a drive. I'll go do something else. I'll work on my merch. You know what I mean? I'll do something else that's going to like make my mind shift a little bit because I'm just accepting the fact that today's not it.
Yeah, and you get way more done just knowing that and understanding yourself, because for me personally, I know the second, if I'm in the studio, whatever I'm doing, the second I start not to feel it, I'm going to the gym. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Like,
you have to.
And then when I get back from the gym, I'm like refreshed either to like take it to the end zone or realize tomorrow, you know?
And that's okay.
It is
That's
okay.
something you have to be willing to accept, because we're blessed, right, to be in a profession that's based off of emotion and creativity, right? Not everyone has that luxury. If you're at work, imagine you're at work, right? You work at an office job and you go to your boss and you're like, yo, I'm just really not feeling it today. Like, I'm about to dip. I'm going to go to the gym I'm going to go for a ride. But hey, I'll be back.
It is a luxury to be able to do what we're talking about. But I have mad respect to whoever does that and can pull that off successfully. And the boss is just like, all right, that's just what it is.
And some people do have that. You know what I mean? Like but like, that's the thing, is like we're just able to, you know, be like, you know what? I've been working my ass off. Tomorrow, I'm going to take a me day.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you know in the back of your head when you have to get something done. You know what I mean? When it's do or die.
We all have deadlines.
Yeah.
We all, like, I have them, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get this, and this done by the time I leave for tour. So I have to make sure I have it all so that I can roll it out while I'm on tour. I have to make sure, you know, if I'm doing a merch drop after tour, a post-tour merch sale, I actually have to have all that done before I leave for tour. Because I'm not going to have time to do it all and put it up on the site. You know, I do absolutely everything myself. Nobody, like, I have a little bit of help, but nobody helps me with my music. Nobody helps me with my merch. No one helps me. Like, I do, and that's my fault. I'm a micromanager, and I'm very hands-on, and it's the way I've built my career because of setbacks that I've gone through, right? That forced me to learn everything. I can't depend on somebody to do this, so I need to learn it in and out, so that if I ever do have somebody jump on and help, I know at the end of the day, if they fail, I can cover that.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest fear as an independent artist is not being able to get something done that you need to get done.
The more you can get done yourself, the better, and the more self-sufficient, the less people can offer you, the better too.
No doubt.
But you just mentioned setbacks. Can we talk about a setback you had and how you overcame it?
Ooh, I feel like my whole career has been a setback at the same time. You know, for me, I've basically started over 3 times, right? So as you mentioned, E3, right? So you move so much in a direction, then it stops. And then, boom, now I'm building this image with the Goonies, then it stops. Now I have to build Michael Minelli, right? So I've had the opportunity to build, I wouldn't say successful, but I'd say I've had the opportunity to build 3 different identities, right? And for me, I don't look at them as setbacks as much as like really learning like lessons, because like I said, with E3, it was my first experience of stepping out into the world and seeing how big it can be and getting accepted with talent outside of Connecticut. The Goonies was a big eye-opener for me because it really taught me about performance, and it taught me how to record. It taught me how to make music. You know what I'm saying? And then those 2 identities brought Michael Minelli together for the first time, right? And a lot of people didn't even know I danced. That's the craziest thing, is like, you know, I'm still in this moment right now trying to figure out how to blend all these worlds together to make them fit like me. And so I would just say, like, you know, my biggest setbacks have been just not, it's a good question. My biggest setback to me has been waiting till this long to realize that no one else is going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself, because we know so many people in this world and they have great intentions, but when they say, hey, let me help you, I can do that, we put so much stock and so much weight into that person to hold up their end. And then you start to slack. And the reality is nobody's going to do it with more passion and more determination than you are because it's your career. They're helping for a portion, for a piece of what you are, but you're doing it for everything. This is my life. You know, I have nobody to fall back on. I am the oldest and the oldest living in my family. You feel me? So it's not like, you know, most people could be like, yo, I'm struggling, mom, dad. Yo, you got me? I don't have that luxury. So I have to get me. So when I realized that was, you know, I moved to LA for about 9 months and was doing a lot of writing, a lot of crafting records. And when that didn't really work out, I had to come back home. And when I came back home, I was alone. Like I had no, like everybody kind of disappeared or moved on to other things. And it was the first time in my career where I was like, is it over? Did I reach my mountaintop? Because that's a thing that nobody really talks about. Is like not everyone's mountaintop is the same height. You know what I'm saying? And so there was a time where I was like, yo, I don't know what to do. Because I put my weight in everybody else. I depended on this person. No, they got me. I'm good. They'll make it happen. Oh, no, they got me. I'm good. They'll make it happen. I never said I got me and I'm going to make it happen until I was alone. And then I started learning, let me learn how to record myself. Let me learn how to do this. Let me learn how to do that. You know what? Let me switch up the way I do content. You know, all those things start happening. And to be real, I know I'm going off on a tangent right now, but it's like, to me, there's so many factors that play into that. And it's something that I feel like isn't talked about enough. We always talk about glorifying and like the glamours of being an artist. And we're these big people, but we're human beings, and there is such a deep reality to the life we live. And I know so many musicians who are struggling just to get by, you know, because this shit ain't easy. And people make it seem, I'm big in this state, I'm big in this state. You and I both know that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? How are you trying to build longevity? How are you trying to build financial freedom? How are you trying to be successful in an economy that doesn't want us to be successful? You know, those are the thoughts that I have, and that's how I define success. So like, I don't even look at myself as a successful artist. I still think I'm in a setback right now because I'm fighting how to get music out there that I think is incredible, but I'm battling against every single person who's a better content creator than me. Because right now we're in a world where it's not about how good your music is, it's how good your content is. And that's the setbacks.
Dude, there's so many gems you just dropped right there. And I think the big takeaway that people who are listening, if they're creative themselves, is that you're the captain of your ship and you can't let anyone else steer that ship. So from the moment that you were feeling alone, what was the first moment of success that kind of you started seeing things pick up and get you out of that?
Truthfully, it was when Futuristic hit me.
Okay, amazing. I wanted to talk about Futuristic.
Yeah. So I was working a job, right? I was working an office admin job. And every day I would go in there and be like, my life is literally being wasted right now. You know what I'm saying?
There's not a worse feeling than that. I'm like sick to my stomach even just thinking about it,
because,
dude.
you know, the reality is this too, when you're chasing a dream, that means you're not working towards something else, right? So any job that I jump into, I'm entry level, right? So now I'm working with people who are making more money, who are way younger than me. And I'm sitting there being like, I don't know shit. I'll sing you a song like there's no tomorrow, but like this spreadsheet, that ain't for me.
And you feel like your potential is being wasted.
And honestly, it's bruising. It's bruising my, I don't want to say ego, but like my pride. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm like, I've been Michael Minelli, this guy who gets praised when I sing and dance and stuff like that, and here I am being told like, you got to get this done, and you got to do and go do this, and go clean the conference room type shit. You know, and you're like, bro, you go clean that shit. You know, like
it's soul crushing, dude. Especially knowing what you want to do in life, and when you're not doing what you want to do, everything feels terrible.
Right. And so I was sitting there one day, and again, I was just like down. And I go on Instagram, I get a DM from Futuristic, and he's like, bro, your voice is really wild. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I grew up watching you. And he was like, yo, are you signed? And I'm like, nah. He's like, yo, I think I have an opportunity. And like, I'm telling you, I was like in tears. You know, like not saying like this was like 50 Cent hitting me, but it's like, yo, it's somebody, he was the first musician who was a successful artist that ever reached out to me and was like, there's value in you. I think I can help you with that. It gave me validation. You know what I mean? It gave me so much, like in that moment, I literally was so close to being like, fuck out of here. I'm out this job. I don't give a shit about nothing, you know? And that to me, it was like, we spoke, we did a record together. A month later, I flew to Arizona. We started shooting content, and everything from that moment on changed in my career.
Yeah. I actually have a question Futuristic sent me.
Okay.
Do you think your new hairstyle has anything to do with you blowing up?
No doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah. Is there more to that?
No, that's it. That's,
okay.
That's the question.
Yeah. So, it's funny because my hair is my biggest topic, right? It's my biggest conversation piece. And it's funny because you get one of two. Yo, I hate your hair. You need to cut that shit. And like, yo, I love your hair so much.
It's polarizing, dude.
And for me, you know, even before I did it, I had short hair. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bleach my hair. Why not? I don't care. Like, who cares, right? And everyone kept saying no. And when you tell me no, now,
double down.
Now I gotta
you're
do
already
it.
You're already getting the kit.
Now I'm making the appointment right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I bleached my hair, and I'm like, yo, this kind of isn't terrible. Like, I'm not mad at this look, right? So I bleach it again just to get it white, because when you first bleach it, it's like yellow. Bleach it, whatever. Then I start letting it grow, right? And I've always done this where I've cut my hair really short, and then I grow it for like 2 years and get it longer, and then I cut it for some reason because I get annoyed. But as time went on, I started realizing that nobody really else looks like this. Like, nobody else has this image.
Yeah.
And I love my curly hair, right? So it's defining for me. And I just started becoming recognizable. I started becoming, like, whether you know me as a singer, you know of me by how I look.
And it's important to do that, because I was going to bring that up, because I've toured with a ton of artists, and typically the artists that are either like really tattooed or like they have like a distinct look to them are the ones that always get recognized in public. You know, we'll be at the gas station in Tucson and, you know, they'll come up for a photo, versus I've toured with artists that really don't have the distinctive features, and they're kind of like hidden.
It happens all the time, right? Like, and another thing, my pandas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I got these things on. Stop playing with me. Y'all thought I was wearing something else. Psych. But like, everybody has been like, yo, get new shoes. Like, stop wearing those pandas. And I'm like, but you don't realize that you now associate pandas with Michael Minelli.
Yeah.
You associate bleach blonde hair. Like, I can't tell you, anytime there's a TV show or a movie or a picture online with somebody with this type of hair, it's sent to me.
That's pretty funny.
You know what I'm saying? And people have showed up to my shows in pandas, having me sign their pandas, because they're like, these are the Minelli 3000s. That's what I called them as a joke one time. But it's all about, like,
you got the starter kit.
Easily identifying who you are, right? And I learned that early on, because I was just a normal dude, no tattoos, mid-bald fade. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look like anybody. If I walked in a room, they'd be like, who are you? What do you do? Are you a writer? Are you the manager? Now, when I walk in somewhere,
the presence is he's the artist.
Because my energy always been there.
Yeah.
My energy's always been what it is. It's the image backs up the energy.
And it's important too, because you want to be able to walk in the room and people have no doubt in your mind you're you.
Oh yeah. No,
you know?
and so again, like, I've had so many situations where people stop me in all over the country, honestly. Would be like, yo, aren't you that singer from TikTok? Or aren't you on, you know, I get Facebook and Instagram, I get everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But I know that half of the battle is because you remember what I look like. You remember this hair. You don't That's all you need to know. It's not like, is that him? It's like, I don't know anybody else that it could be. You know what I'm saying? And that's, so yeah, it's funny. Me and Futuristic always joke where like, because I was skinnier, I'm like, man, like ever since I put some weight on and grew my hair out, like that's when I became successful or whatever I deem successful right now.
Yeah. I want to talk more about Futuristic. So in 2021, you do a collab album with him. How did that all come to be?
I forced him. No, to be honest though, like he'll admit it too. Like one thing about me, and as you probably are, we're East Coast boys.
Yes,
I'm very direct,
vocal,
and I'm very vocal, and I'm very honest. Yeah, I don't really beat around the bush, and so when I want to do something,
are we doing it or not?
And so I just kept saying to him, I'm like, yo, we should definitely do an album together. We sound really good on records. And he's like, yeah, no doubt. And I'm like, in my head, I know, like, you always got to think about people's angles, not just your angle, right? Because they're thinking about their angle and they're thinking about my angle. And so I always try and play it in my head like, well, what's he probably thinking? He's thinking I'm the way more successful artist. I've done a compilation. I've done a collab album with another successful artist, Devon Terrell.
Yeah.
Right? So why would I do it with a small artist like you when... What are you bringing to the table? So I said, boom, let me bring the music to the table. So I started writing. Before he even knew we were doing an album, the album was already pretty much there. You know what I'm saying? And one day I called him and I said, yo, I'm really serious about this album. He said, all right, bet. I said, cool, I'm about to send you 9 songs right now. He said, 9 songs? I said, I'm sending you 9 songs. I sent him the 9 songs. He FaceTimed me 30 minutes later. He's like, bro, these are insane. And then I get a verse from him, like 30 minutes later. 45 minutes after that, I get another verse. An hour after, I get another verse. He sent me back 7 verses that same day. Not like recorded, but like voice notes of him rapping his verses. And I was like, yo, I've never experienced that type of work ethic. These songs that I wrote took me, you know what I'm saying? Like probably like a couple weeks. It took him 4 hours to write his 7 verses. And then from there, he's like, yo, this dude's really serious. Now let me bring, so then he sends me like 4 or 5 records. Like, yo, hop on these. So that album really came together by me forcing it, me making the album before he knew I was gonna before he knew he was gonna be on the album, and just trusting that my ability is there, that I can do it, and then him buying in and him believing and him like coming in as the closer, and it was just a really special time for me because it was my first time, number one, making good money on music, number 2, learning how to roll out a project, how to do a project, package a project, and put it out without overthinking everything. Yo, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. This is when it's going to get done.
Your approach of setting it up for him is my favorite approach in anything I do because it's like you have an idea and especially when you're collabing up with somebody, right? You want to make it as easy for that person as possible.
No doubt.
So I have an instance of this too I'll share really quickly. So Justina Valentine is my New Jersey artist for the 50 States Project.
There we go.
I had that song and everything together a year before I even reached out to her. Yeah. Because Chris Fury, like, we were on the tour and he said, he's like, I probably could get Justina to do something. That's all he said to me. I literally put everything together. And then I just was like, here, like, if she wants to do it, this is everything.
And sometimes that's what it takes, bro. Not every artist is going to say, hey, let's get in the studio together. Not every artist has that time. So are you going to be the artist that complains like, damn, I'm never getting in the studio with them? Or are you going to be the artist to shift your thought and be like, okay, so how can I make it happen? That's how you got to be in this game. It's constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. Like, there's no time to be like, well, this is how it's supposed to go. Fuck that shit.
There's no
Fuck
such
how
thing.
It's supposed to go.
You're making that up in your head.
There's no way.
It's the jungle out here.
That's your negative thoughts. That's, it should be this way. It should be that way. Why? Who said?
Nobody said, dude.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. Like, you just got to think of creative, clever ways to make things happen because that's what this industry is. You know,
Right.
there's no clean cut. There's no music industry school because it's a jungle out here.
Bro,
you got to figure it out.
It's figure it out. It's how, like, get it done however it works, and the people are either going to respond or they're not.
And the craziest thing is what works for you might not work for me, might not work for them.
Yo, we're having these conversations now because, like, you know, I say that I'm blessed because, and I know you're going to talk about it, but I say I'm blessed because I have 3 artists who really, like, give me a lot of knowledge, right? It's Futuristic, it's Nick D. Do you know Nick D?
Of course, dude.
Nick D, and then Anise.
Yes.
Right? So those 3 guys have given me so much advice, guidance, inspiration, and just, like, helping me figure things out. And, you know, you look at Futuristic, someone who, like, really was, like, the beginning of, like, he's pretty much the one that fathered one takes.
Oh, yeah. And the way Futuristic has adapted, like, he's one of those ones that you have seen during every stage of music.
He don't go away.
Yeah.
He won't go away.
No, and a lot of respect for that, dude.
And then Nick is an artist who, like, Nick found me when I was bigger than him, right? And we connected, and then I just watched him blow up because he has such a way with entertaining and just, like, he just feels like he could be your brother. He could be at your family dinners. Like, he's such a great dude. He's so entertaining. He's so likable, and he made music that matched that vibe, you know? And so after a while, like, it was only a matter of time before he blew up. But what people don't know is he's actually really freaking smart. You know, so, like, analytics and stuff, like, he's looking at all the back end stuff and figuring out what works, what doesn't work, why it works, you know, how it's supposed to work. There's a method to his madness on how he writes music and the format of everything. Like, and that was low key the next biggest, like, eye-opening moment, right? So, like, me and Futuristic worked. We're starting to do all this stuff. And I'm like, damn, like, I need to level up again. And I flew out to Virginia, and I was working on music with Nick. And I'm just like, yeah, man, like, you know, I'm just one of these musicians that, like, I'm artistic. Like, I care about the art. You know, I want to shoot full music videos, and if it doesn't work, then I'm on to the next song. And he's like, I hear you, and I'm not knocking it, but, like, let me, you know, and I'm not putting him on blast right now, but, like, let me show you my DistroKid, my monthly statements.
They're both, that's what I get from Futuristic and Nick, is that they're both very good with business. And I think all artists need to be good with business.
Have to.
They're 2 great artists to look to for that.
No doubt. You're your own business, right? And Nick's somebody who's doing it in real time right now, like, and growing at the same rate, right? And I'm talking, like, in the moment, right? So this is pretty much a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
Or the moment that I'm talking about. But I'm watching him grow, you know what I mean? Like, Pineapple had popped 6 months prior.
Dog, I heard that song in Goodwill, like, as it was popping, bro, and I was like, let's fucking go, dude.
Pineapple popped, right? And then I'm talking to him. I'm like, yo, how'd that deal go, right? He told me about that. I'm like, oh, you're the man, bro. Like, you really handle business. You know what you're doing. And then he had Icy Pop go. And you know what I mean? He's continuing to get on these viral charts and, like, just, and I'm like, yo, this dude really has figured out the game. And so I just, once he showed me, I'm like, hold on, you making that?
You're just like, let me shut up and listen for a little bit.
Let me shift my approach on content now, because I hated content. I didn't want to be called a content creator. But you know what? I want to have financial freedom in life. I want to live off of music. I want to have a comfortable life later in my years, because shit, I've been at war for this part of my life, right? So that's when I shifted from only doing music videos to now I'm going to go out and do short form content, and I'm going to let my personality show more, right? Because I always wanted to be this, like, nah, what up? I'm super cool, yo.
Yeah.
But behind the camera, I'm a clown. I joke around, have a good time. I will make fun of you. I hope you make fun of me. Like, I'm gonna give you energy. I'm gonna laugh. We're gonna have fun. I want to feel like a kid, like, be a goofball, because life's too serious, and I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's when everything kind of started really shifting for me and my career directly, is when I started exposing who I was. You know?
And you have to adapt in this industry, and the game's turned to short form. And now I know that you've done so many TikToks, so many videos. What was the one that changed the game for you?
When I sang in the grocery store.
Were you sitting in the cart?
I wasn't sitting in it, but I was pushing it, but I had my laptop in the cart, right?
Yeah, okay, I remember that one, yeah.
We were out just doing content, right? Like, we're just trying to figure it out. What can we do? Oh, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do this. And we were in West Hartford Center, right? And we're just like walking around doing different TikToks. And I go, my man Dylan, Dylan Jaguar, he does all my content. I go, yo, Dill, what if we went into Whole Foods and I sang while I was walking with the cart? He's like, run it up. So we pull up, and freaking Jim Calhoun is walking out of Whole Foods. So now I'm like, damn, this Jim, this is, you know what I mean? This is a GOAT. This is a literally a GOAT, living legend. So now I'm nervous. Even though he's not even gonna be in the store, I'm just nervous. I get the cart set up, whatever. And I'm like, in my head, I just have this thing that clicks where it's like, yo, it's go time. Fuck everything else.
And just send it.
Just do it. Who cares what these people think about you, bro? Because the reality is, you're not doing it for the people in the store. You're doing it for the people online. So however they respond, that's just the immediate moment. Because you're gonna walk out that store, you're gonna go home, and your life's gonna go on. But when you post this online, that's gonna live forever. And you never know who's gonna see it, when it's gonna, you know what I mean? So just walked in there, started singing, whatever, got great reactions from people, they clapped, whatever. I left, and when I posted it, it was the first video that, like, right when I posted it, like 10 minutes later, I looked and it's at 20,000 views. And I'm like, never seen this happen before. This is catching some steam.
Let's go, dude.
And that kept going, and that jumped up to like almost 700,000 views, just on TikTok. And then it started catching on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube.
The domino effect.
Yeah, and it was, now I was known as the guy who sings in public. You know what I mean? And I think I started leaning into that because 2 reasons. Number one, I can sing my songs. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How they're supposed to sound. And number 2, I'm not afraid of being embarrassed. I'm not afraid of what people think of me.
And it was working.
Even if it wasn't working initially, I wasn't going to stop doing it because I was buying into something and I was going to see it through, right? So then from there, I would go to New York City and I would sing in Times Square, and I would go in, Gastro Park in West Hartford and sing in front of everyone who's just sitting there ordering. And from there, I went and sang in McDonald's.
I was going to bring this one up, dude.
Yeah.
And I know this got covered by everything, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, that was, everything happens for a reason, right? And I think it's important as a human being to know how things build up, right? Where did this come from? How did that happen, right? Because I didn't just one day wake up and go sing in McDonald's, right? What I did was, when I first met Futuristic, we did that deal. Do you know Big Dawes TV?
Of course.
Okay.
Actually, I met him in Arizona, which would make sense.
He lives there.
Yeah.
So when we did our first initial deal, Big Dawes would do a prank with us as a part of the song. The song that I put out, Give It a Try.
I want to talk to you about that song too.
So I go out with, and I didn't even know I was doing this. Futuristic's just like, yo, you're going out and shooting content today. You're going to sing to girls in public. I said, cool. Said, who am I going with? He's like, oh, Big Dawes TV. I'm like, I didn't really know at the time, right? I walk in the office. He pops out. I'm like, dude, what the fuck's going on? Like, you're humongous.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Recognize him from the internet.
Yeah, like, I'm like, yo, you're fake Clay. You know what I mean? Like, you're that guy. And so now I'm incredibly nervous because I'm like, oh, this is actually going to be seen by a lot of people, right? Never have sang in public before like this, ever, bro. We go to freaking ASU, Arizona's campus, and they're just like, all right, go sing to people. And I'm like, the first like 30, 45 minutes, bro, like I was getting dubbed left and right. Like nobody was stopping for me. Like, cause you have to figure like, hey, excuse me, like, do you know where the library is? And they'd be like, oh yeah, it's right there. And then you start singing, or they're like, oh, sorry, I gotta go. Like, I don't have time, blah, blah, whatever. And finally, it just like that first one clicked. Rest of the day went really well. And the dude filming me at the time was like, bro, you're a natural. Like we'd love to have you more on this channel because we think this could really do well. That moment is why I was able to do the McDonald's video.
Because you built up the confidence.
Because between that and me singing in public around here in the grocery store and all these places, it let me know I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks. I'm going to do this shit. And people are always like, why are you doing that? I don't care. You're not going to stop me. Life is too miserable for certain people. Yo, let this lift you up. Don't look at this as a negative. Let's have some fun with this, right? Because for anybody who's like, he's taking forever, I want to order my food. Yo, someone in that line is having a really bad day. And that just lifted their spirits. Like, I was just a part of something that like a flash mob type thing. Like, you know what I mean? I was just part of this moment that not everyone else is going to get to experience.
They're calling their family like, guess what I just saw?
And then in a month, when you see that video going viral, yo, I was fucking there. Yo, I was in the McDonald's. He really did that shit. Like, that's the people I do it for, right? Like, and it happened. Like, one of the ladies, you could tell she was just having a terrible day. That I actually sang to. And like when I did that, the joy that she felt, I don't give a fuck about nobody else. If I lifted that woman's spirits that day, whatever she was going through, that's all I care about.
It makes you, that's the thing, you really never know what people are going through, and sometimes it's just the little things that can turn their day around.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
It is good to know that. But I want to bring it to your touring, dude.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this up until I was like looking into research for this, but we were going to tour together, dude, because you were going to be on the full capacity tour, and I was also going to be on that run.
Yes.
And, got canceled, but, and that was going to be your first tour.
That would have been my first tour ever.
So I want to talk to you about that, because I know at this point you've toured a lot, but at that moment, that was your first tour, and having that, getting excited for that, and then having that get canceled, what does that feel like?
It was really hard, to be real, because that was also at a time where I wasn't really making any money, and so you find out, oh, you're about to go on tour, you're about to make X, Y, Z. And so you're like, cool, by the time I get off tour, I'm going to have to pay my rent, right? And I pay it, like, I don't pay it month to month. I pay it every couple months, just how I have it set up. And to find out so late, right? Like, it wasn't really so much about the tour as it was, how am I going to survive now? Because now we're coming into like the holiday season and the winter months, and I'm broke, And so to me, that was another time that I really had to like realize like, yo, you got to make sure you're good more than just like a couple steps ahead of you, because like a tour can get canceled again. No tours can pop up for a while. Like even right now, right? Like I'm home and I don't know the next time I'm going on tour. I have nothing booked. In my head, I'm probably going to go out in the fall. But from now until the fall, all I have to rely on is my streaming money and then little things that come in, right?
Yeah.
So I set myself up to make sure that I saved everything that I was making so that now I have the luxury of being home and making music and not sitting there being like, yo, how am I going to afford groceries? How am I going to put gas in my car? How am I going to pay my bills? Like, I know I have that taken care of while I make this music, because I need to create more music. I need to get more stuff out there, need to shoot new content. But yeah, it was a really hard moment. I remember like, even Futuristic, like he didn't even really care about the tour. He just knew how much I was depending on the tour, And so when I was like, damn, bro, like when he told me, I was like, damn, bro, I don't know what I'm about to do. like I could get kicked out of my spot if I don't figure out how to make some money. And I ended like low key, I ended up painting a whole house. And it popped up at the most random time, and I really thank God for that, because I think about it all the time. I'm like, yo, if that random job didn't pop up at a time where I wasn't even painting, you know what I mean? I wasn't painting, but someone was just like, oh, I bought this new house and I need the whole thing painted. And I love to paint, but I never actually did a job. I was like, I'll paint it.
Dude, life works.
He's like, yo, do you know what you're taking on? Like, this isn't like a room. This is like a whole entire house. It took me 4 weeks. It took me a month.
And you're just like, you don't even know how much I need this house right now, dog.
I'm depending on this.
Yeah.
I will do anything to paint this house to make that money so I can pay my rent. And I did. I spent 7 days a week in that place. I worked every single day. I think the only days I took off was Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, dude.
You know? And after that, it was just a big moment because I started doing it. I started painting while being a musician. And so now I'm taking jobs like as a business owner and also running a full-time career, and nobody knows I'm doing this painting.
Yeah.
So I'm hustling like I'm a full-time musician, and I'm also painting like a full-time painter.
Which is intense, dude. Like, and that's the thing. People don't know the sacrifice, but it's a testament to who you are as a person, because to me, this is going to happen at all costs. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's going to get in the way of me figuring out this music thing.
Nah.
And the thing too, now that you got like this little nest egg of cash, you know what I mean? That luxury, like I know for me, dude, I wouldn't be able to do a 50 States project if I didn't have a little nest egg. Right. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and people don't even understand how like streaming money works. You know what I mean? Like the second you put out a song, you're not seeing the royalties from that song for 3 months. On the master side and on the publishing side, 9 months.
And bro, you're not making that much.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, and I always say like, it's like, don't confuse like views with monetary success.
Yeah.
You know, because like that's the reality that we are. Like, unless you have a lucrative YouTube channel, you know, like the streams, you know, it's not like you get $1 for every stream. You know,
yeah.
Like, right. And that's another reality that a lot of artists don't talk about, because honestly, it's hurtful. It hurts them. It hurts us to know. It hurts me to know, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like how much music I make and how hard I go for that music to only see how much it brings in.
Oh yeah. And it's like with music, I like have a couple songs, and I'm sure it's the same with you. You have those couple songs that are your breadwinners.
Yes.
And then there's the other million songs that you worked on that are chipping away. But the play that I'm trying to make too right now is just stacking the catalog, because I think that's a way that independent artists can just.
Well, you never know when a record can catch steam.
Yeah.
And I know you were going to bring it up, and that's why I'm saying is like, you know, give it a try. That record was out 2 years before I caught steam on it. And once I just realized, you know, and it's funny because never shot TikToks. What happened is I was shooting, this I tell this story all the time because it's so funny. We're in Denver. It's me and Futuristic. We're doing shows, and I had just started posting on TikTok, but like I probably posted like 50 something TikToks, and I was getting like 16 views. And I remember we're driving one day, and I'm on my TikTok and I'm scrolling. He just looks over and he goes, "I don't think I could do it. Like if I was only getting 16 views, I think I would just stop." And I'm like, yo, but I think something's gonna catch. Like I'm committed to the process. I'm not committed to the results right now. Like let me just execute, right? I shot a TikTok where the garage door opened up and I'm singing in the garage, and then Futuristic pops out and he's like dancing with me to give it a try. That was the first video. It did 6,000 views. And I said, something's up. Something's up with this song. So let me ride this song real quick.
You couldn't escape the song, dude. I went on my feed. It was there every time.
And so I just kept posting it. And that song, the algorithm must enjoy it because that would always do well, you know? And finally I had a couple videos do a couple million views. You know what I mean? I think like collectively that song has gotten like 20 million views on socials, which isn't insane, but it's not nothing.
Yeah, and to me, that's like anything that moves the needle. You know what I mean? And it's the whole game of music. Like, And the thing is, like, unless you have like that overnight viral thing, which you really don't even want a lot of the time, like it is a little gradual climb up the mountain because that's what makes the longevity in your career versus like, you know, the here moment. Like you don't want to be here for a second and then gone. Like, because most people, when they have a big viral moment, don't know how to capitalize on it, don't know how to keep it pushing.
They're not prepared.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, it's better to do the little by little too.
And the cool thing is like, I've been here for a long moment.
Yes.
So nobody could ever take away from me that like I didn't put the time in, I didn't skip any steps. You know what I'm saying? Like I really worked for this.
Yes.
And I'm still working for it. Like I said it the other day, like I'm hungrier now than I was when I started. You know, and that to me is important because you see I've seen a lot of people come and go, especially in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've seen a lot of people go from I'm this person and I'm an artist to I'm this person and I work at Verizon. You know, I'm this person and I do this and now I'm this person who is this. Like I've seen, because it's not easy. It's not easy. You chase that dream because you see it and you're like, well, I like to make music and, you know, I think I could be famous. You know, and then when it doesn't have to happen after a certain amount of time, you're like, well, maybe this ain't for me. And so therefore, like, I still need to make sure that my life is good and I can provide. I'm crazy in the head. I'm
right
sick.
there with you, dog.
So I'm like, I'll die before I fail at this shit. Like, I'm really going to give this everything I have. And the times you think I'm nuts, I'm going to say you're right.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because as you're even talking about that, there's a ton of people that come to, like, of my personal friends that, like, were once doing something and then they just...
And it's no shame. I don't shame anybody.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like...
It's hard, dude.
That's why this is called a gift and a curse. Because I'm cursed by music. My moods are based off of my day's writing. If I write a shitty song, I'm in a bad mood. You know what I mean? Like, there was a time where, like, I treated people unfairly around me because my career wasn't going right. I was so jaded by the music itself and really blamed it, blamed it like, yo, why are you doing this to me? Like, I'm putting the work in, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Like, why aren't you showing me the success that I need?
Yeah.
That's what this is about, right? Like, you work hard, good things happen to you. And that's not always the case. Nobody talks about the side where it don't matter sometimes how hard you work. You might not make it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's part of the game, dude.
It's part of the game, but
the more you're in it, the more likely something's to happen too.
One time someone said something to me, and it's a very simple thing, but it holds so much weight in my heart. Where it was when I came back from LA, and I'm trying to make it happen, and I'm like, I'm in my thoughts. I'm literally sitting every day paralyzed by the thought, like, this is it. This dream that I had as a child is now about to be over. And someone said to me, yo, Mike, the train only stops at the station when you let it, when you stop the train.
That's real, dude.
And I was like, I'm driving this train. How the fuck am I going to let this shit stop? You feel me? So that right there, I was just like, nah. And everybody around me, knows me as the dude who doesn't quit, who keeps chasing it, and I know this sounds crazy, but I truly believe that my goal in life, like God's goal for me, is not to be a superstar or like to make it to superstardom. My goal is to give people hope that if you don't give up, you can make something happen to yourself. It might not be the exact vision you have for yourself, but you can make something happen. So that thought of hope, like, yo, he came from this and this and this. He battled this and all this adversity, and he did it alone, and you know what I mean? But he never gave up.
No, I'm right there with you on that, dude. You said it before, but the only thing that's going to get me to quit is dying. You know what I mean? I'm in this locked in 100% for life, dude.
You're going to have to kill me.
Yeah,
you
know
what I mean?
Like,
for real, that ass.
I want to run it back to touring a little bit, too, because I refuse to have you on and not talk about touring with Denise, dude.
Yeah.
And so I want to know, how did you actually, I think I know, you connected with Denise through an open verse challenge.
Once again, being very direct, going after what I want, and yeah, it had a combination of a lot of things, right? I did 2 open verses. I did Leave Me and I did Sun and Moon. And when I did Sun and Moon, that was the one that really caught his and it was really all his friends, right? So like, you know, he told me, he's like, yo, me and my friends got this big group chat. All my friends started sending me your verse. Like, yo, this kid is disgusting. You need to have him, right? Like, this is the best one. And you got to think, bro, there's like thousands of open verse challenges to Sun and Moon. That's one of the biggest, outside of like Russ, that's one of the biggest open verse challenges I've ever seen. And now Teddy Swims Lose Control, right?
Yeah.
And so when that came out, I was just like, I did it. I'm, you know, tagging him, whatever. He responded. He followed me. From that moment on, I made a point to never let him forget who I was. You know what I'm saying? And show him that I believe in your career and I believe in your journey just as much as I believe in my own, right? Because your message is strong, and I appreciate and value that. So when you post, I'm gonna comment. When you post a story, I'm DMing you. If there's an opportunity, I want my name, my image, my face to be the first thing that pops up in your head. And what happened is he announced his tour. It was like 11 shows. And I was like, yo, let me do the Connecticut show and the Boston show and New York, right? And they're like, well, we'll let you do Boston or Connecticut and Boston with 2 shows. And I'm like, cool, I'll take it. It was a Wednesday. The first show was Friday. I'm painting a home. I get a DM from a niece. Yo, can we hop on the phone real quick? Sure. We get on the phone. Yo, I know this is crazy, but I had another opener and they backed out. Can you be in Detroit for our show on Friday?
Wow. What'd you do?
I said, I'll be there. I literally, like, there was no hesitation. I was in my head, I was like, I don't even have a set prepared. I'll figure this shit out, but I can't even let him think that I'm nervous about it because it might make him rethink his decision.
You got to keep it cool sometimes.
So I was just like, yo, I'll be there.
I
didn't even think about the money. Like, yo, that's going to cost me bread. Where am I going to stay? All this. I don't even know how much I'm getting paid.
Because anything's better than where I'm at right now in this second.
I will be there. You know, I'm and that show up, right? Show people that you're willing to show up, even if you're not financially benefiting off of it, because that lets them know, yo, you really care about this shit. And so I ended up doing 9 out of the 11 shows on that tour when I was only supposed to do 2, because somebody else might have looked at it and been like, it's not enough money. I can't do that traveling alone. Like, you know, bro, I flew to Detroit. I did the show. I went and stayed at a freaking, you know, crazy motel by the airport. Flew home, did a show in Connecticut that next night. The next day, flew to Chicago, did a show, flew home. Like, I lost so much money on that first tour, but I made sure that he knew, no, I can't let anyone else open for you.
That's fair, dude.
I have to be the guy, because our message is so aligned, and our energy and how we talk to people and how we treat people and how we make them feel, it's so aligned that I need you to know that I'm the best guy for the job. And I'm not going to leave room for error either. I'm going to make sure. And so when he announced the next tour, right, he didn't want to give me the spot right away. Fair enough, right? Like, as an artist, like, you're not trying to always bring the same opener, right? It's very uncommon.
They're the same, yeah.
Right? And I was like, again, what is he thinking about? I know how I'm thinking. How's he thinking? Well, any artist is trying to save money, right? Touring's expensive.
It's very expensive.
Right. So I said, cool, I love to drive. I'll drive.
That's the most genius play you could have done. Everyone hates to drive, dude. So,
I'll drive.
Bro, at that moment, like, that's the thing about providing value, though, dog. You know what I mean? The more value you can provide, at that point, you made it so he basically gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
I'm taking care of 2 jobs. I'm opening for you and giving you a great show, and I'm getting us there safely because I really do this. And I'm riding with the homies, so it's not a big deal. Like, we're chilling, we're kicking it, having a good time. I'm just the guy manning the wheel.
Yeah.
You feel me? And honestly, I think I proved a lot to them because, like, I'm showing you, like, yo, not only am I driving, so while everyone else is sleeping in the van, I'm up. I'm still making sure that when I perform on that stage, you think that I'm well rested and I haven't touched the wheel or anything like that. And it really got to a point where, you know, he said, like, yo, Mike, I never have to worry if that crowd is going to be woken up by the time I get on stage. And a lot of times people come in and they'll be like, damn, I didn't think we was turning up like that. Like, I came here high as shit, ready to just kumbaya, because Anis's music is very free-spirited and, like, you know, self-confidence type of music, right? But I have them jumping, sweating, you know? And so when Anis comes out, he gives that same energy. You really came to a concert.
Yeah,
and
dude.
The fact that you didn't expect it means you're going to come to the next one. Because you're going to ride that energy.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about 2 more tours real quick. I want to talk to you about the European run that you did with Anis.
Okay.
How was that?
That was very interesting, bro. Very eye-opening and a big life lesson for me, right? Because, number one, I paid for all of that. So that all was out of pocket. People don't, you know what I mean? Like,
they don't know that from the outside.
I didn't get paid. So everything I did on that tour cost me. I booked all my flights. I booked all my hotels. I booked all my transportation. I paid for all my food, all while praying to God that I was going to sell merch. And guess what? I didn't. You know, like, I did the shows and I got the same reception from the crowd. The language barrier definitely played a role into, like, you know, because I tell jokes in between my set. Once again, I'm a clown. So in America, everyone can understand me.
Yeah.
When we're in freaking, you know,
wherever.
Yeah, Portugal, and that this isn't their language, me talking fast like this, they're like, it sounds cool.
Yeah, and even if the language is, like, because there are countries like Germany that speak English very well.
Yeah, and Germany was one that laughed more.
Okay,
you
that's
feel
good.
me?
But I was going to say, though, like, there's also, like, what's funny here might not be funny there. You know what I mean? There's like cultural differences.
Not
too.
Everyone's going to catch my humor.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I picked up on. But, like, at the end of the day, right, like, being able to travel between, like, 7 countries and perform music that you wrote in a basement at a time where you didn't know what was going to happen or who was going to ever hear this or if anyone was ever going to hear this. That realization was so special to me. And that's why I'll never take it back. And I'm so appreciative that Anis gave me that opportunity to go do it. Because he could have been like, yo, I'll just get somebody in Italy to open up for me. I'll get somebody in Germany to open up for me. But he was like, yo, if you want to commit, because he took an L on that tour too financially. Like, bro, it costs a lot of money, you know, and he's paying for all his people. And that's mad hotels, you know, and stuff like that. To me, it was like such an eye-opening experience to be, and it, yo, I'm an international artist. Yeah,
dude. And that's what I like. It's the legacy play.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. Anytime that I'm spending money that I'm like not confident I'm going to recoup, it's like, well, like 50 States project. I think it's going to do well. I have no idea though.
Yeah.
But I'm calling it the legacy play because at the end of it, I could say I did that.
Yeah.
At the end of it, you could say you're an international artist. You toured. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, what's better, saving money or going to do it?
Exactly, bro. Like, someone always said to me, yo, at the end of the day, do you want to be the guy telling the stories or the guy listening to the stories? You know what I'm saying?
I like that, dude.
I want to be the guy telling the stories.
I want to be the guy telling the stories too, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, listening is cool, but, like, experiencing it and going through it and having those moments, like, there were so many moments in Europe that I'll never be able to, like, recreate or just, like, be able to explain to somebody the way that I felt it in that moment, right?
Yeah.
And those you form bonds with those people and go through things with them. And, you know, again,
I got a couple of those too that I'm thinking of.
We know a lot of artists that never will get the chance to tour. I'm not wishing it on them, just it's a reality, right? Touring is the only aspect of music that you can't fake. You could fake streams, you can fake followers, you can fake perception. You can't fake fans showing up to a show and watching you perform live.
Truth, dude.
It's the rawest thing. It's the only thing you can't. So not only to be able to tour the country, dude, I did 8 tours in 2 years. And one of them was my headliner. You know what I'm saying?
About that.
Okay.
We're getting there.
But you know what I'm saying? So like to be able to do that and then take it overseas.
Yeah.
Bro, you know what I mean? Like there's so much validation that comes from that and just understanding that like, yo, the journey is worth it. The lows that I just had these past 4 days, I have to think about moments like that. Yo. You know, and I saw LeBron say something the other day on his podcast where like, you know, him and JJ were talking and JJ's like, come on, Bron, you watch your highlights, right? And Bron's like, we all know the only time you watch your highlights is when you're in a slump and you need to find who you are, right? When I'm in a slump, I'll go listen to old music. I'll go check out my Instagram and see like, bro, I was in fucking Paris doing a TikTok in front of the Eiffel Tower. Wake the fuck up, Mike. You know, like I be talking shit to myself like, yo, stop being a bitch, get up and go do what you got to do. Live in this moment real quick. Cool. Embrace that. Cool. Got it. Go.
Keep it going. Yeah.
Cause somebody else is going. Someone else might be catching up on your lap.
Yeah. I have that mentality too, where it's like, if you're not putting in the work, there's someone who is and wants it more than you.
And bro, at the end of the day, like your voice is an instrument, right? And it's the only thing that is like a saxophone player can learn how to be the best saxophone player, but it sounds like a saxophone. You can't change your voice. You know what I'm saying? That's your voice. So say tomorrow somebody comes out who sounds like me. My career's over if they outwork me. I have to be, you know what I mean? And honestly, bro, I experience it all the time. I see artists and I'm like, yo, they sound just like this person. That's why, you know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be hard for them to pass up this person because this person's
already
doing
filling that role. Yeah.
We already have that. We have that, so we don't need it. And you know, I'm a voice guy, right? So like there's a reason why Jay-Z stands out. There's a reason why Justin Timberlake stands out.
Again.
Usher, Beyonce. There's all these people who have an undeniable, definable, definable?
Yeah.
Voice, right? Yeah, sometimes.
I'm following.
Yeah. And it's just so iconic. And so for me, like that's something I pride myself on is that I don't think that I sound like anyone else right now and nobody's come out that sounds like me.
Yeah. One of the last things I want to talk about, you know, your first headline tour. It was a long time coming, dude.
Yeah. Long time. Yeah. That's exactly why I named it that, because originally it was going to be named after an album. And then we decided, yo, I don't have time to put that album out. And so then we're like, well, what the hell are we going to name this tour? And I'm like, well, yo, this shit is a long time coming. You know, I've been working at this for many, many years. And to finally be able to go out on the road and do a tour, you know, because, you know, like, unless you're a huge artist, touring's such a risk.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You know, and there's highs and there's lows, right? And so, you know, I was on tour a couple times before that, but as an opener, so I only know.
Opener, yeah, let's make that clear to the people. Touring as an opener versus your headlining tour is different levels of financial risk.
I do not like headlining. And I've heard that from a couple artists, and it's funny because I didn't understand at the time. I'm like, bro, you bring in all the dough, this and that.
But you risk it all too, yeah.
There's so much, you know what I mean? Like, as an opener, like, you know, I do, once again, I go above and beyond to make sure I'm promoting all the time. But not every opener does, right? They'll post a couple times, hey, I'm doing this, I'm going to be on tour, whatever. You know why? Because ticket sales aren't not dependent on them. It's the headliner. So now I'm sitting here being like, oh shit, I have to do a 3-month campaign before my headline. What am I gonna do every week? What new thing? Okay, cool. I'm gonna sing this jingle about every place I'm going. I'm gonna drop the merch. I'm gonna tell you what's in the VIP package. I'm gonna tell you who's going on tour with me. I'm gonna tell you you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a lot.
I have
dude.
to make it all exciting for you, while putting together like an hour and a half set, finding a band, putting a band together, doing rehearsals, to pray to God that you show up to my show.
There's a lot of work, a lot of risk that goes into these things, dude.
And before I toured with Anise, I would never have been able to do it, right? Because I don't think the music is enough to pull you into the room. I think seeing me perform live is enough to have you come back again to see me at my headline, right? And so that was the major accomplishment to me, was every city we went to, the people who showed up, it's because you saw me perform before and you were so moved by it that now you needed to see a full set from me with a band, you know? And so
that's everything too.
And it's just it's so crazy. Like when I showed up to LA and there's 140 people, and I show up to San Francisco and there's 140 people, New York City, 160 people, you know what I mean? Like,
those are tough markets too for the average person that doesn't know that.
All these places that, like, Denver, like 250 people. You know what I'm saying? Like chanting my name before the show. In a place that a year prior I was opening for Anise at. You feel me? So like, it was such a moment of realization. It was like one of those moments where I accepted my flowers.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably felt really rewarding.
And I don't ever do that. But life is all about balance, right? And God has a funny way of humbling you. So there's also places like Boise, Idaho, where there was 15 people there and we were performing in a bingo hall, you know? And I would say, like, I ain't never seen a permanent bingo thingy on the wall.
That's incredible.
But they had it. And I was like, oh shit, this is wild. Life's crazy. And I'm very humbled right now, you know?
Yeah.
It just lets you know, like,
to me, that gets me excited though too, because right now I'm working on trying to put together like a little run, and I imagine it's going to be a lot of bingo shows, right? But the part of me, I know that if I keep at it, eventually it won't be bingo shows.
it'll keep growing.
Yeah.
You know, you'll move up. And that's what everyone always says, right? Is like, you know, a lot of even the promoters that booked me for these shows, like, because, when you book your first headline tour, they're taking a risk because there's no data to back it up.
Yeah.
Because you can't go off of being an opener.
Because you can't tell the difference, you know what I mean?
Because an opener doesn't determine if you brought those tickets in or the headliner brought them in, right? So every promoter was just like, we took this show because we think Michael's incredible and we think down the road he's going to be selling out venues in Boise, and we hope he books it with us at our bigger venues, you know? So it was also nice to me that they weren't like, damn fool, like this is all you brought, like, and you know what I mean? Like, maybe we're going to pass on your next tour. Like, nobody ever said that. They're like, we can't wait to have you back regardless of the amount of people. But again, Seattle, 170 people, like all these different places. I'm like, I'm this kid from Connecticut who 3 years ago was working an office job ready to quit music entirely because I thought music gave up on me. And now here I am traveling the country, performing for people in 20 states because they love my music. And they said, hey, I know it's a Thursday night and I know I have work on Friday and I know I have to make sure my kids are good and I know I have to prep my meal and I know this week's been busy, but guess what? I'm going to take the next 3 hours and I'm going to go to Michael Minelli's show. I don't take that shit lightly, bro. You should, like, I don't like to go nowhere. It'd be a struggle to get me out the house. You know, better than anyone, it'd be a struggle to get me out the house, right?
Yeah, dude.
I tell everybody, they're like, I would love to live your life. I'm like, you probably live a more exciting life than me when I'm home. When I'm home, I don't do shit. I wake up, I have my coffee, I make music, I go work out, I hit the grocery store like anyone else. I'm very like a minimalist and I'm a very simple person. And it's just, you know, it's a crazy thing to see people say, you know what? Life's fucking nuts, but I'm going to take the time and go see him. And that's so important to me. And I never will take that for granted.
I'm going to take this to the end zone, dude.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
I'm quitting music.
Well, after all that,
imagine
motivating for hours.
Yeah. Don't give up, but I am. Man, I'm currently, rolling out singles right now. By the time you have seen this, it'll already be out. But I have a song dropping this week with Devon Terrell.
Oh, amazing, dude!
And
I love
so
Devon.
that's, you know what I mean. Like he's been one of my biggest inspirations since I started. I have a song that is coming out with Somo.
Okay, Somo's incredible too.
Yeah, so like I have a song with Coda the Friend.
Yeah, it's a good lineup you got going on.
And then I have a song with Marky Basie.
That's fire. Yeah,
So-
I know you just toured with him too.
Yeah, we'll say that. We'll do
You'll
a part
say that.
two.
Yeah,
we'll do a part two.
too.
Pod two.
Yeah.
But so just rolling out with some people that I really respect. I'm also going to be rolling out a bunch of just solo music by myself. And just really getting back to the content and really seeing how I can grow my content from not just being the public singer, but being an artist. I really want to get to the music. And so doing short form content, but really focusing on the music itself and painting those pictures. And then, I'm going to be back on the road, continue to perform for people and give them new music that I can't perform, as well as new merch drops, and just focusing on anything that I can do to show my creativity and whatever moves me at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think for so long I did it to try and impress other people. And these past, couple years, it's really been like, Mike, what do you want to do? How do you feel about it? And at the end of the day, they're either going to embrace it or they're going to deny it. But to me, the most beautiful thing is somebody forming an opinion means they care enough to form that opinion.
That's the truth, dude.
If they just say, I don't know, I don't care. They don't even care enough to give you an opinion. So you mean nothing. But if they're like, yo, I freaking hate that shit. You're passionate about that hate. You care enough to hate, So I'll embrace that. Same way when you love. Be passionate about the love you give me, because I'm passionate about the music I give you. So that's what's next, man. I'm going to just keep thugging it out, and I'm not quitting. And, come outwork me if you want to.
Yeah, and if people want to find you, how can they connect with you?
Oh, you can find me at Mr. Minelli, MrMinelli on Instagram and Twitter. Facebook, search Michael Minelli Music on YouTube. Look for the blonde hair, curly hair boy singing his heart out. And Michael Minelli on all streaming platforms as well. Go listen to that music, run it up.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, dude.
I appreciate you for having me. I'm glad we made it happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too. And I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of gems from this one.
All I can do is tell my story.
Yeah.
And my truths.
And who knows, somebody watches this and it changes their life to pick it up and get going.
As other podcasts do mine. Like they change me and they help me grow and help me evolve and learn and really figure out how to navigate my thoughts and my moves. So if I could help anybody out there, man, take what I say as a grain of salt, just like anybody else, because what I say is not right and it's not wrong.
Well, thank you for coming on, Mike.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Woo! I want to share with you guys my thought of the day. And my thought of the day is this: don't wait for opportunities. Sometimes you need to put the whole thing together and show people your vision so that they understand it. And y'all know my other rule: you got to believe before the world does.